Hi everyone and welcome to eDub HQ. Here, just a quick update for you about the stuff that we are currently working on and a kind of opportunity for you to kind of have a little reminder of the kind of stuff that we're into and the stuff that we might be able to help you with as well. It's been a little while since we've put out a video, but that doesn't mean nothing's been happening, almost the opposite. There's always a lot to keep up with, so I'm going to get straight into it. So first and foremost, our kind of flagship portion of our business, which is the eDub trips. So you may have seen our bright green camper van that's available for hire. eDub Trips is what started off this crazy journey. And eDub Trips, so Indy was away on her last trip of the year, so we stop at the end of October, just because sitting in a classic camper over winter when it can get quite chilly is not always very fun. So she had her last hire, and when she came back from the hire, we realised there was a bit of an issue with her gearbox. Now, her gearbox has kind of always been a bit of a problem, and the reason for that is it's an original gearbox, and I think it's only about 1500-1600 cc, so it's a real basic gearbox that was shipped out with these back in the 70s. And we're pretty sure this one was still the original. And the way that Indy has been built with the electric conversion is we've built an adapter plate and we've put an electric motor and bolted it straight onto the gearbox. What that means is that you're still driving manual, which is slightly more efficient for range, etc., and kind of electric power. But it does mean you're putting quite a bit more power and more torque through that gearbox. So we're very aware that actually from the beginning it's always been a bit of a pain. Combined with, if you've ever been in a classic camper, the phrase that's used for changing gear is stirring porridge, which is because the gear stick doesn't feel like it's connected to anything, and it can just feel like you're just stirring porridge, and it's so long. So just practically, even without the electric conversion, using that gear stick isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. So when you combine those two things together, gears has always been something in the back of my mind that if we would do it all again, we would do that slightly differently. Or, as we've kind of come to develop as we're looking forward, the other option is that we go for a more powerful gearbox. So Indy has got a couple of issues with her gearbox currently, and it's come at perfect timing as we go into winter. So Indy is currently at the shed. We have a mechanic based over near Whitby who helped us build Indy and is helping us with this upgrade. So we're going to take the gearbox apart, see what the problem exactly is, and have a look at whether we need to go for a better gearbox, but we'll know that shortly. But eDub Trips, it's a very simple fix once we know what it is. eDub Trips will be back on the road in March next year, so if you're interested in a camper van holiday or a kind of trialling out the electric conversion, if you're considering a conversion yourself, trialling it out is a great way of doing that. So get in touch, go on the website, and you can book in your holiday for 2020. So that's trips. Our conversions are, so we've got those going on as well. We currently have 2 camper vans here with us at eDub HQ, one coming towards the end of the build and the other one just at the beginning. So we've got a nice kind of crossover with those. What this does mean is that once our first one has come to the end of its project, which should be very shortly, we'll have space for more. So again, if you're considering a camper van conversion, maybe you've got your own, maybe you'd like us to source one for you, which is what we've done with both of our current campers, then get in touch, because very soon we're going to have space to take on the next project. So camper, the camper that's just coming to the end, which has been named Miriam, that is using a Nissan Leaf 40 kilowatt hour battery pack conversion. Now the client for this particular project, they didn't want it for a camper, they wanted it more as its kind of original microbus setup. So we we've kept that. We've rearranged the seating in the back slightly. They needed that because they want to be able to fit a wheelchair into the back, which works perfectly because it's got such big space, such open space, flat floors. There's no odd bits getting in the way. So we really tailored that back space to fit the wheelchair in. That's been great. So wheelchair has got the space in there to go, plus seating as well. So in total, there's still 8 seats, as well as the wheelchair space as well. So it's very capable to take the family and a lot of their friends out around the block. We've also put a few kind of nice fancy upgrades in there, so as per the client's requirements. So they wanted a kind of sat-nav digital radio system, so we found a really lovely one from Alpine that fits into the original slot, and kind of has this kind of hovering iPad effect that looks over the dashboard, which is nice, and that's fitted with a reversing camera, which again is very smart, and that automatically changes when you're reversing, so you can use that when moving forwards, backwards. So that's using a Nissan Leaf 40 kilowatt hour battery pack. So if you see a new Nissan Leaf out in the wild, out on the streets, it's the interiors of that taken out and put into our camper. So all the cells are in a bespoke box, all the high voltage stuff is secured, and then there's no gears, so we've got rid of gear stick, because we're using the Nissan Leaf stack, which is the gearbox motor inverter unit. It's just single speed driving, which is so much fun. As well as that, so I may have discussed previously, we had a little thing with, there's always this, I've always found this with brakes, talking about brakes for a second. Brakes are odd because you've got the brake mechanism within the wheels, the physical side of things, that when you push on the brake pedal, it's squeezing something into something else, regardless of whether they're drums or discs or whatever. And then an original camper has some kind of brake assistance combined with that. So there's a vacuum chamber, and the engine is able to provide a bit of vacuum to help with those units. When you don't have an engine, you have to create that vacuum separately. What that means is you have to fit in a vacuum pump, and they're incredibly loud. And for me personally, I don't know about you, for me personally, I like the quietness of these campers. I like the fact that I can arrive at places and people say, I didn't hear you come. I didn't hear you arrive. So for me, the noise is not great. It's a bit of a pain. So we did fit a brake system to Miriam, but it was so loud, I really didn't like it. So instead, what we've done is we've kind of perfected the braking system, the manual braking system that's already there. So that works really, really great. And then we've tweaked the regenerative braking within the wheels themselves as well. And so what that means is as you're driving, you've almost got one pedal driving, which is really smart. So as you're coming up to a junction, you take your foot off the accelerator, and the regen braking kicks in, and kind of gradually but strongly brings you to nearly a stop, and then you just use the brakes just to bring you to an absolute stop. I think that's a great compromise, because it's not adding any more tech, it's not adding any more things that are going to take up space or power, and it stays quiet, so it still works really, really great. And plus, that having that regen turned up slightly more means that as you're stopping, you're putting more power back into the batteries, and so that works really great in this system as well. So we're looking forward to trying that out too. A couple of final things just to finish off on Miriam. So the painting is kind of halfway there. We had some bubble spots that we had to top up. It's a bit of a shame. So the original paint job, I'm not sure. It didn't bond to the original paint when they redid it. I don't know why. It doesn't look like they even stripped it back really. So I don't know if it just wasn't painted properly. I don't know. But there were bubbles, and some of those bubbles turned into holes, which then, as you kind of picked away at them, there was quite large sections that weren't connected. So we went and got some body filler, filled in those spaces, sanded them down, and sprayed them over, and they look okay. They look really good. That's half finished. I've got to get some white paint for the roof. That's nearly there. And then the other really final little thing we've got to do is just get the heating assembled. So the heating is here. We've kind of got it all in pieces. I don't have it with me. It's actually still in the vehicle. But the fan's here. So it's a heating element on top of there. This is a 12-volt fan. Heating element is 400 volts, so that it actually provides some heat. 12-volt heater won't do anything. So that's bolting on the front there. Space is a bit of an odd one. So we've put the heater down by the handbrake pedal. So again, because you cleared up a lot of floor space by not having clutch, not having gear stick, it's really open in that space. So you can kind of get away with having a box basically towards the very front of the vehicle next to the original heating duct, and that's piping nice hot air into the existing channels. So we'll have one set, there are 4 outlets of this. One of them will go into onto the windscreen, one of them will go to passenger side face, one will go to driver side face, and then because of the wheelchair in the back, we've put one into the channel that goes through the door and out behind the driver's seat as well. So that'll provide some heat into the back cabin as well. You've got to be really particular with heating the campers because they are big empty metal boxes effectively. So there's no point just providing general heat in general places because it takes forever to heat up that big box. So it's better to have more direct heat so you as a passenger or as a driver can feel that heat kind of quite specifically. So that's the end of that project. Miriam, so that's nearly finished. The next project will be starting very, very soon. So that's kind of in a position where they want much bigger range. So this is the second camper that we're working on, the cream one, you may have seen. They're wanting much bigger range. So they're wanting 200-mile range. So we're going to put Tesla batteries in there. So that's the dog who's seen someone arrive. We're going to put Tesla batteries in that one because they need 200-mile range as opposed to the 110, 120 we had before. So we're just getting the quote approved on that, and we've got all the parts lined up. So once that's all been signed off and it's all been approved, we can get those bits in as we go forwards. So that's kind of up to date of where we are right now. So that's the things I'm dealing with today. A couple of little top-up stuff. It's also that kind of time of year where tax return stuff needs sorting out. So I get swamped by having to sit at my desk and deal with paperwork, which I hate. But I have to do it, and I will do it. And it's better to get that done now than wait. So that's kind of an update from where we are now. If you want to get in touch, if you've got any questions about the stuff that we do, if you've got a vehicle that you want to convert, or maybe if you, like these guys, want us to source one for you, we are going to have space very, very shortly to take on our next project. So please get in touch. You can email me personally, which is kit@edubservices.co.uk, or if you just search for us online, there's plenty of ways to get in touch with us. You can get us on social media. We're on LinkedIn, or I'm on LinkedIn associated. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. So just get in touch and let us know the kind of things that you want us to get on with. That's everything from us. So I hope you have a great day.